Yes, we were being asked. We didn't get to make it to Bend, Oregon. We at this point, 2018, we said let's have another gathering. We had our other one in October. It was a little late in the year, so I think it was September. And we just looked at the map and said, let's go to the other side of the country for those that couldn't make it. And it was Smashville. We called it Smashville 2.0. So it's Nashville, Tennessee. And go big or go home, right? It changed. It's just like, let's get more speakers, more vendors, a bigger room. And we kind of said, let's have around 200 people. That's triple, a little over double, not 100 and some odd percent of the first one, not triple, double. Let's go. So we formed a little bit of a leadership team, right? An unofficial, non-paid, non-incorporated organization that was asking people who owned businesses to put in their time and money in some cases for a movement they believed in. But everyone did it because the cause was worth it. It was a just cause. So we converged leading up to it. We had, we delegated. This thing was going to be much different. We went with the handouts and the tchotchkes and the a lot more sponsors and speakers. Jeremy Reitz was there. Jerry Edel, great Jerry Edel, just grew. And we went into Nashville. And pause. It was great. It was a good group of people, a bunch of good people. And again, some people from Bend, Oregon showed up again, talking about what it was. Some new people, new relationships, new professionalism was kind of put and tagged to it, more credibility, if you will, which brought more people. It was out of the Facebook world, and it was now an official thing. But we had it there in Nashville, and night of day one. I mean, again, I want to say this again. No one there really was technically an expert at event management. And what I'm saying is Nashville at the end ended up being a huge mess. How much do I want to go into it? I mean, listen, I would like to clear the air. I don't want to talk about people though. So I'll keep it simple because it's important because the rebel movement took a black eye stemming from the results of some of the Nashville drama, real or unreal. The event was great. Night one, the hotel came up to leadership. We were sitting at a table, decompressing, after action report, planning for tomorrow, getting stuff switched over. We had to switch to another room. It was kind of weird. And someone from hotel came and handed us the bill for the first night. And let me pause this and tell you how we did it. We used Eventbrite, which is an online ticket gate thing. They have fees, which are fine. We put those into the fees. And here's what happened is Andy set that up. And I don't know everything. I mean, I know a lot. I was part of it. It kind of went to one of his accounts. He gathered all the money. And then we had it was a separate account, I believe, and it was his bank. And it was distributed to vendors, to cost, things like that. Well, we'd paid for the room, we'd paid for all that stuff. The leadership. Some of them we had a block of rooms for a little bit of block rooms, so some people got rooms paid for. The rest of us, myself included, paid for all my travel and my hotels and food, and the food was furnished. And they handed us a bill for what the food bill was going to be. We did not know that it's almost 43% of surcharges and travel taxes and all these additional fees that are kind of down in the fine print, the fine print. And we looked at it, and we had already bought, we just the tchotchkes, the giveaways. Again, 200 people. Not every sponsor had paid. There were some people, some leaders that allowed their buddies to come be a speaking part and have a sponsors booth, and that was supposed to be part of the income. So there was some mismanagement there. Nothing really, nothing really targeted. Nobody really was trying to screw anybody over. I don't want to make that up. This is a good group of people. But we figured out really quick that they were looking at what tomorrow's service was going to be, the food and all. We weren't going to have enough money. We literally looked at what we had and what this was going to cost, and we're like, we have a problem. So we quickly pivoted. We were moving to another room because the room we were in, they double booked it or something, and they were putting us over across the hall in an equally sized room. And we said, because we had done breakfast, lunch, and dinners. We went all out. Didn't know what we were doing. We didn't realize that the Predators in Nashville were they were in the playoffs, and most people were going down there middle of the afternoon, weren't eating dinner. So we said, let's take tomorrow night's dinner and not have service. We had to pay for the food. We took something else off, like beverage service or the happy hour, but the food had already been purchased for this event. And I'm getting into the details of this now. Non-refundable. But the service, the servers and the cleanup, the table, all that was a substantial amount. So we said, let's do this. The food's already paid for. Let's pick a shelter or a donate or a charity or someone to give that food away so it doesn't go to waste. Perfect. Everybody loved that idea. Let's not serve dinner and everyone does dinner on their own. Great. I want to say one of our vendors said, hey, let's have the happy hour and we'll pay for it. Great too. With that said, we were still going to come up with $8,000 short. We talked as a group, uncomfortable talk, and Joe Ledbetter and myself said, you know what, listen, $8,000 to get us out of this thing where we don't lose our ass. I'll pay half, you'll pay half. No problem. Andy didn't have to, everybody had equally put in at some point. This was equitable. We all agreed to it. So we went the next day, had to kick off the day 2. Again, great day. Dick Wagner was there. Dick Wagner was good. Jerry Edel in the morning, Jerry and his amazing staff member and daughter, Jordan, wanted to start the day off with a rah-rah session to get everybody fired up. Day 1 was powerful. And myself and Andy and Dave Meyer and a couple of us are sitting over here kind of at this one table. And Jerry grabs the microphone, unbeknownst to any of us, and tells everyone. He had heard about the cash problem, the money problem. We didn't advertise it. But the dinner had been changed and the news went out, and I think he kind of came up and said, hey, what's going on? And we kind of just spilled the beans and said it. And Jerry said, grabbed the mic and went around the room and said, everyone, we need to build the war chest. This cannot be a losing battle. This cannot be a loss. We have got to contribute. He goes, I will put in money. He goes, I want to ask everyone. I know you paid to get here. The tickets were stupid cheap, by the way, which was a lot of the problem. We didn't know that these events should be a lot more. I want to say $250 for a 2-day event with all the meals. Come on, get out of here. Jerry passed the hat. We kind of laughed about it, and I'm sitting here rolling my eyes. I look at everybody that's kind of involved, and I'm like, "Did you know about this?" He said, "Nope," but it was heartwarming. And he's like, "This needs to happen," and these men and women that put this together, and anyone else that was involved, gave it their all, but we're going to come up a little bit short. So if we can help out so that we not only get past this, maybe there's a little bit something in the coffers for the next time we do it. OP said, hey, listen, I'm in for 1,000. Or he goes, I'll tell you what, first person that contributes, he goes, I'll match it $1,000. Somebody said, hey, I'm in for 1,000. OP said, I'll match. We went around the room and it was uncomfortable. I'm not one that likes to do that kind of stuff, but I don't know, about 5,000. And I'm getting specific because this is going to matter in a minute. I'll get to the story here. About $5,200 was gathered. And that was the beginning of the drama. The questions started coming out, even from people that weren't part of, I guess, leadership or part of the circle, were starting to get involved. And we didn't really know why. There was some well-to-do, some really pompous people that were really starting to call everybody out in their integrity and ask for a full audit and this and that. And the whole time I'm sitting here saying, and this is like the days after, this was really getting bad. We had a leadership meeting, kind of unraveling, talking about what. And by the way, we didn't collect enough to completely clear it. And myself and Joe paid, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 a piece to kind of settle the bill. And but there was nothing left. That was it. So the drama started. The big inquisition. My stance the whole time was, hey, everyone, if you came as a guest or as a vendor, other than the one meal, which we all openly said, guys, we don't have enough to serve that meal. If everybody's okay with it, we're going to donate that food. And everyone's like, absolutely. We're going to go downtown to Broadway, blah, blah, blah. People started getting involved that didn't need to be, that we asked the question, did you have a good time? Yeah, of course I did. Did you get the value? Absolutely. Did we do what we said we would do? You did. Those vendors, did you get a lot of connections and it was a value? Absolutely. This was a great event. But there were some people, but come to find out that one of the leaders had expected, don't know where the expectation came from. This all literally came up in a lawsuit later the next year. And I guess the expectation was, and we proved that there was no posted expectation. The expectation was that some of the leaders thought that they were going to be reimbursed, which is fair, for their cost, or secondly, make some money off of this. I think didn't happen. So then this little inquisition group that kind of self-appointed outside of our leadership wanted to do a full audit, and I'm like, hell no, like, why? We're rebels. But people relented and said, sure, I'll open it up. Andy printed off his statements and sent those, and we showed the spreadsheet of where we had done what. It was all made pretty good sense. But inside of one of his bank accounts, and I think that was one of the bank accounts on his account, he did several, showed the purchase of some Bitcoin. And immediately someone said, well, there's where the money went. Andy bought Bitcoin. Not true. Different account, different transaction, something nefarious. He and I talked about that on my podcast recently. This year we were on my disaster podcaster. We get on a leadership call. This is how silly it got. This is where Nashville turned. This is where social media and people's behavior started coming in. Was I bitter then? Yeah, but am I bitter now? No. But here's where I'll leave you. And this is funny, but it certainly has stayed with me for a very long time. We were having a Zoom call with leadership, and we used to record those. And this conversation about y'all were cheating and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what? And I said, what do people think we did with the money? You got hookers and blow? That was the comment. Well, fast forward, leadership kind of crumbled, dismantled. There were some people that were on the outside and the inside and weren't in it for the right reasons maybe, or something went awry. Expectations weren't met. And there was people were dismissed. but not before they weren't and downloaded the Zoom calls. And someone grabbed the Zoom call and edited it in a way, took the context out of I was saying things like, I was saying if you go to a concert for Garth Brooks and they don't have enough money, do you ask them to see the books on how much they made on their T-shirts? No, you go and you have a good time. You sit in the audience and you yell and scream, and that's it. I don't know where this was all coming from, but this is where the industry elites were trying to put their little stamp on this thing, which is the beginning and the end, right? Um, Took this video where I said hookers and blow and kind of pretty good job of cutting it up to make it look like something different. And we had some opposing groups like this East Side, West Side. Our group, Norp was one of them, you know, and this was great material for the opposition or what people thought that the competition was going to be. It wasn't like that for me or John or Andy or Bob or the rest of us that are in leadership. But it got released. I went out across the internet saying that we used all the money for hookers and blow. And like, what a rebellious statement, right? And I was blackmarked with that for a while by some people, but some people knew me and said Clark doesn't do hookers. He loves his wife. He's got a great family, and I don't think Clark even drinks, much less does cocaine, which is blow. I don't know. Anyway, that was our thanks for attempting to hold a great summit after another great summit and build upon what we were starting with the rebels and the movement and stuff like that. But it was the beginning of the end, and things weren't ever the same after that. This is what it is, right?